Welcome to the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel powered by InsideTexas.com. I'm Joe Cook. That's Justin Wells. It's another edition of Recruiting Intel. You know we're going through the 2025 class. Last time we talked about the commits in the class. This time, Justin, we're going to talk about some running backs that Texas is after. And not only are they looking at some guys within the state lines, whether it be East Texas, whether it be DFW, they're looking at guys from coast to coast and everywhere in between. And that seems to be the approach that Tashard Choice takes in every cycle. No matter where the talent is, that's where he's going. He's going to find it and do his best to get that talent to come to Austin.
Yeah, Choice does not care. He is not a favorite of any region. You would think Southeast, that's where he's from. No, he'll go to the West Coast. He'll try to snag a high 4-star in Jordon Davison out of Modern Day. Like, he doesn't care. And I think his MO is 2 tailbacks per cycle, every cycle, at least up to this point. And most of the guys so far have been out of state. I believe Trey Wisner is the only one that's been in state to this point.
Wisner and Blue.
And Jaden Blue. Well, but I don't think he recruited Blue. I think that was a Drayton. I think that was the last year of Drayton. But he obviously inherited him, and he looks tremendous. He had a great season last year. So, yeah, Choice doesn't care. He'll go coast to coast. He's nationwide. ZZ Top.
So, want to make sure we ask y'all to like this video, subscribe to the channel. We're going to tell y'all who we're going over. Of course, Jordon Davison, as mentioned, Rickey Stewart, Deondrae Tiger Riden, James Simon, Harlem Berry, and Akylin Dear. So, let's go ahead and start on the West Coast with Jordon Davison. As you can see, he's the number 42 overall prospect in the On3 industry ranking. He's number 3 running back. On3 lists him at 5'11", 210 pounds. And Justin, he was just on campus for the most recent junior day. And, you know, I think there may be higher ranked running backs, but this seems to be the running back that Tashard Choice has put in the most effort with over the course of the last year or so.
Yeah, I mean, if there's higher ranked guys, that gap is not that large. I mean, he's among the top 3, top 4 in the country for a reason. Choice identified him, like I said, early. Just by opening that pipeline to Modern Day, it's allowed them to really jump into those younger underclassmen and try to figure out who they think are fits. And Jordon Davison is a perfect fit. Out of all the guys we're going to talk about today, I'm glad we led off with him because I think he's the most likely to end up in this class. USC, Ohio State are probably going to be the 2 biggest hurdles. Oregon has been pushing hard as of late. Alabama's kind of backed off a little bit, but I think that's simply because it's a new staff and maybe they have a new vision or direction that they want at that position. But Jordon Davison fits exactly what they want. You know, I think Choice likes that in between the tackles kind of guy. A little over 200 pounds, can get to about 210, 215 and still be able to move the ball. And Davison is the quintessential between your tackles. Like, he can bounce it to the outside. He can go to the inside. He can go off zone. He's a master of all trades. And listen, there's not a school he's been at more. I think I had an RPM put in for him last spring, maybe even summertime. And I'm not backing off that. If Tashard Choice identifies a guy as his top guy, most of the time, he's going to get him.
One of the things that I think that it's really smart to look for when you're scouting running backs is, like, do they do running back things? Because a lot of times you can find film, and there are some guys on this list that we'll talk about today who they are just kind of given the ball and then they just go athlete. You can't do that at Modern Day. You can't just go athlete at Modern Day because if you see, there'll be teams like Bishop Gorman and St. John Bosco and even Servite. Like, there's some very high quality programs. Of course, one of those is Las Vegas, but in that LA area that Modern Day is a part of, and they play high quality football. You know, they produce Heisman guys. They produce a number of Texas targets. A lot of big names come from Modern Day, and they are a well-coached team to where if you're playing running back and you're starting at running back, you're not just athleting out there. You are doing running back things, and you can see that, I think, in his balance, how he accelerates and how he's able to read things pretty well. And, you know, sometimes you just see a guy bounce outside and just start, you know, okay, I'm going to run my sub 1100 on a field where nobody else can do that. That's not what Jordon Davison can do. He can do it all. He's got some speed. He's not elite speed, but he's got better quickness and balance and speed. and he does running back things at a level that I'm not sure maybe anybody else on this list does.
Hey, Jonathan Brooks didn't have elite speed. You don't have to have elite speed at tailback if you've got all the other traits and intangibles, and Davison has those.
Let's keep on moving down the list at another player who was at the Texas Junior Day, who also picked up an offer at Texas Junior Day. That's Rickey Stewart from Chapel Hill High School up in the Tyler area. Number 282 overall, number 22 running back, listed at 5'11", 180. And Justin, you know what my deal is with small school players. Are they the best player on every field they step on? And he may have a teammate in Demetrius Brisbane that gives him a run for his money, but for the most part, Rickey Stewart is the man on whatever field he steps on, and you can see that in a lot of his highlights.
Yeah, almost 70 touchdowns in 3 seasons, and he still hasn't played his senior year. Rickey is a throwback type of running back where, you know, he's kind of like Davison in the aspect that he's not a speed guy, even though he's got good speed, but he gets low and it's like smoke through a keyhole. He gets low. He has great balance, and the first guy never takes him down. His ability to run with the ball inside and out is very, very, very strong. It took Texas a little while to jump on this bandwagon. Choice came through Tyler a couple weeks ago, saw him in person, sent the tape back to Austin. Everyone on the staff started gushing about him, and he became kind of a focal point on that Junior Day, him getting that offer. It was the one he'd been waiting for. The kid's got 25-something offers: Michigan, Ole Miss, Arkansas, TCU, Oregon. And those are going to be the competition along with Baylor to try to get him. But he quickly decommitted from SMU, which was expected. And he wants to take some official visits before he makes a decision sometime in the summer. I don't anticipate it'll go that long. I think this thing will be done probably around the springtime. But the thing with Rickey, you got to understand, is he's not a burner like some of these other guys. He's not. But he is hard to bring down. He catches the ball out of the backfield. He picks up the blitz. He's really good in pass pro. He's kind of a jack of all trades in a way, kind of tailback, throwback. He's really quiet. And you know what they say, you got to watch those guys that are quiet. Rickey doesn't say much, but he plays really loud.
If you watch his does he do both offense and defense
for
Chapel Hill? Really? No. So they only specialize him on offense. That's pretty impressive. That shows you how valuable he is to that team. If you also watch that film, you can definitely see him playing wildcat quarterback. That's kind of fun to see him throw some passes out there. And I know I just talked about doing running back things, even at a small school at 3A level.
No, they're 4A D1.
They're 4A D1.
And they're playing Carthage, Kilgore, Pleasant Grove, and White House.
He's doing running back. He's doing a lot of running back things. Like, there's some times when, it's a Jordan Whittington rule. Are you just the best player on the field and just give him the ball and go? Sure, he does that every now and then. But even at that level, and at this point in his career, he's doing running back things and reading holes, going through them and making the right read. So I was really impressed. I think that, that number 282 mark is about what it needs to be. That seems about
higher.
Right.
He needs to be a little bit higher. Brisbane's the better athlete on that team. Rickey Stewart is the better football player.
Gotcha. I can see that, and you see him being, someone that Texas pursues no matter who's in the class, correct?
Yes, no question. He has a committable offer, but Choice, he doesn't hang around. He'll throw it in front of you, and you've got an opportunity to either jump and get you a spot, or he's going to move to the next guy. And that's why this list can be kind of long, because he's not going to mess around. Choice wants his guys in. He wants them early, just like last year. I think both guys were committed by the middle of June, and so that's kind of his MO. Either get on the boat or be left at the dock.
We got a few more running backs to go over, but before we get to them, we got to talk about our friend Andre the Lawyer. Andre the Lawyer, we never take more than our clients. No win, no pay, no upfront cost. An inside Texas user with a principal office in Dallas, Texas. He's been representing injured Longhorns throughout the state of Texas. Every client gets a personalized text message number so they can contact the team and get direct access to their lawyer all day and all night. call Andre the Lawyer at 214-444-8808. Whether you're in a car wreck, an 18-wheeler accident, slip and fall, an on-the-job injury, or anything else, call Andre the Lawyer at 214-444-8808. Justin, I'm excited to talk about this one because not only is he a player from a powerhouse program, but this is another contentious recruitment, and it's going to be interesting to see where this one shakes out. If you know where he goes with relation to Texas, or maybe Texas recruiting rivals, and that's Tiger Riden. He is the number 181 overall prospect in the On3 industry ranking, the number 12 running back, 5'10", 195. And we were talking about competition level when it came to Jordon Davison. You don't have to worry about competition level at all with Tiger Riden in that DeSoto District of Death.
No, you don't. To give you an idea about how talented Tiger is, you know, they had a starting running back, starting Trey Wisner 2 years ago when they were making their state championship run. And Wisner, you know, coincidentally signed with Texas, you know, former Waco Connolly tailback. Tiger was so good that they moved Wisner around on the offense. A 4-star committed to Texas. They moved around. I think he played some slot just so they could get Tiger on the field. And he was tremendous in that playoff run and was vital in that state championship, that first one that Claude Mathis and those guys got in 2022. Tiger's such a good dude. Like, he's such a nice kid. He's such a good locker room guy, good attitude. He's always positive. Doesn't get too high. You know, a lot of times with recruits, they get in their head about when they start stacking offers. Tiger doesn't. The man that and Mama calls him Deondrae has got a handful of strong offers. What's going to happen here, though, is it's going to be interesting to see because Davison is higher up on the board, and I believe Stewart is probably higher up on the board. So Tiger's in a position where I don't know if he could jump in the boat today, but I do know how much Choice loves him, and I do know how close they are with their relationship, and I know that Choice is definitely keeping him warm just in case. Right now, though, I feel like Texas A&M is making a hard push for him. I feel like Baylor and SMU are going to be in the mix. The sneaky team is SMU. With their move to the ACC, I think they're going to be gathering a few more of those DFW guys than they usually do. You know, usually they grab them in the portal after they've gone through another school. I think that's going to change a little bit over the next couple of years. And Tiger's a guy that could be that guy. Texas loves him. He wants to be back on campus for the spring game. But right now, I think that's more of a holding pattern to kind of see what Davison and Stewart do.
You know, he's got a big offensive line in front of him there at DeSoto with Byron Washington. But watching his film, they do a little bit of everything. That's a very balanced offense. Of course, it's got to be a balanced one if you're winning state championships like they are. Probably one of the top, if not the top high school teams in the country this past year. And they did it going through very tough competition, and that's going to continue. Like I said, DeSoto's the district of death, or in the district of death this year. But hey, 7.5 yards a carry, 12 touchdowns, 1,000 yards playing in that district. That lets you know a lot about what he's able to do. I think he's just a very capable running back. I think what you mentioned about Texas' viewpoint on their board, I'd probably have him that way. I think he's great. I mean, I think he's very worthy of his 181 overall ranking and number 12, but I think there is a little bit of window between him and Davison, and that may be why Texas is a little bit more after Davison than Riden.
That dude ran through Duncanville. Enough said.
He's a great running back. That's all we got to say. Next up, James Simon, the number 189 overall prospect in the On3 industry ranking. He's the number 14 running back. On3 lists him at 5'11", 198. Goes to Calvary Baptist in Shreveport, correct? Yeah. And this is, I know it sounds like a broken record, but this is where the athleting thing comes into play, where you watch him run football, he's great at it. Like, he is really great at running it, but it is like all on draws and like a handful of things where he is just out in space, which, hey, is smart deployment. That means those Calvary Baptist coaches are doing their job, but he's not doing a ton of running back things. And Justin, maybe this is why this could be the first time some people are hearing James Simon's name.
Well, you know, he also runs behind a pretty big offensive tackle named Devin Harper, who recently committed to LSU. And with Simon, I think you have to understand I think if Texas, I know Texas really likes him. I know they've built a really strong bond. They probably offered him somewhat like maybe last summer. They've been on him for a while, and he's been on campus a handful of times as well. But I think it's gonna come down to numbers when you're talking about Simon, and he's a guy that I think Texas wouldn't mind taking really. But I feel like LSU. I feel like with Texas kind of focusing a little bit more attention on some of the other guys we already talked about, plus LSU starting to push with him a little bit more. Not sure if he's a committable take there right now, but LSU is showing a lot of love. Texas A&M is trying to get him back on campus as well. And so Simon's a guy that even if he doesn't go to Texas, we're going to see him probably in the SEC over the next few years. And, it used to be LSU was like tailback you there for about 10 years. I swear their third and fourth string running backs on that roster were always good. I mean, they just seemed like they churned out guys after guys. They were those James Simon types that were just great athletes that could do a lot of stuff with the ball in their hand and just need a little bit of technique, a little bit of a coaching. Simon's going to be a good take on a good team. I'm just not sure if Texas is going to be the one at this point.
Yeah, like I said, just because he's not doing running back things doesn't mean he's not a great athlete. And yeah, I think he's a fantastic one. There's a reason he's running away from everybody in his film, but it just appears like unless the physical attributes are just way above everybody else. And honestly, CJ Baxter kind of fit this role. He likes getting the guys who have some polish, some ability to read, react, run behind multiple schemes, just because that learning curve is kind of tough at college. And I think that's why CJ Baxter for having an up and down freshman season was so sought after, and kind of ended up getting it towards the end of the year where he would start making some plays. There were some plays he didn't make, but I think they like seeing that polish. Baxter had plenty of it. There were some things he had to work on, but I think overall when Tashard Choice recruits running backs, that's what he's looking for. And this next guy, LSU commit Harlem Berry, number 12 overall in the On3 industry ranking. I think even On3 has him as like the number 7 prospect, an early 5-star already. An LSU commit. Texas was after him for a while, and Tashard Choice built a really strong relationship with him. To be honest, I watched everybody's film that we talked about in preparation, except for Berry's, because I just know everything's good with it. Like, he is just a next level athlete who is worthy of that ranking. But Justin, is Tashard Choice still keeping Texas in this one, or are the offensive firepower that LSU currently has in that class going to help Harlem Berry stick with the LSU Tigers?
Man, it's going to be tough to pull him out of LSU. It's going to be tough to pull him out of Louisiana. The funny thing is, though, Tashard Choice doesn't care that he's committed to LSU, and that's how good Harlem Berry is. You recruit this guy through the whistle, and if for some reason he decides he wants to hit the portal in a year or two, you call him back, because Harlem Berry is special. I won't forget, I saw him 2 years ago when I went to see Arch's junior year, and it was before a game. It was like a doubleheader, and I saw 2 or 3 plays, and you're just like, wow, like, damn. And I asked Nelson Stewart, the head football coach at Isidore Newman at the time, I'm like, who the hell is that? He goes, man, that's probably going to be the number 1 running back in the country when he's a senior. And, man, he was right. And I hate throwing comps on guys that are over the top, especially when they're Texas-based. But go watch Jamal Charles in high school and in track, and go watch Harlem Berry. There's no difference. Harlem might be a little bigger, and Jamal might be a little quicker, but the speed is the speed is the speed. And Harlem Berry will run by you. This joker is legit. Like you said, LSU's kind of got him wrapped up right now. They're building one, probably potentially the best 24 or 2025 rather. And so it's going to be hard to pull him out of the Pelican State, but Choice is not going to let up. You can't stop recruiting a kid like Harlem Berry. You build that relationship. And if you talk to Harlem, he loves Choice. He's been to Texas a few times. He knows the Arch Manning effect. But, man, pulling him out of LSU is going to be tough.
So taking a look at his track numbers, and hey, I know you said Jamal Charles, and that is lofty praise. 2023 season, Harlem Berry ran a personal record 10.57 at the Louisiana State Championships in May. He ran a personal record 21.43 at the same event. It was part of a sub 45 second 4x1 team. Man, he long jump 20 feet, 8 3/4 inches. So there's some track bona fides there that doesn't make that Jamal Charles comparison or just, too far off. So, hey, if he can start getting into, nationally elite stuff, I think that's going to hold up pretty darn well going forward. Got one more to talk about, and this one is one of the more fun films to watch, and that's Akylin Dear. He's from Quitman, Mississippi, and I looked that up. That is a town of 2,300. So it is not a very big town down in, I think, Clark County. Number 148 national prospect, number 10 running back. He's got an 11-14-100 to his name. But when there's we've talked a lot about this show about there not being state lines in that part of the Southeast, whether you're Auburn, Alabama, Georgia, LSU, Ole Miss, Mississippi State. But Lane Kiffin has made Akylin Dear one of his biggest priorities. And Tashard Choice stopped by not too long ago as well. He looks like a small town football player. He's got long speed. He outruns everybody on the field, but he can do some jump cuts that are just impressive, especially at 6'1", 200. I know Choice stopped by, but where do you think Texas stands in this recruitment when it comes to Deer?
Akylin Dear is what I call a Malays special because our man at Inside Texas, Malays, absolutely, he's a big time recruiting guru, so to speak. And he watched his tape and he's like, God. And the truth is that's legit. He's a God type running back. I think he should be rated higher. He is built like a brick house. Like this guy looks like a Southern Mississippi bred style, come out of the mud running back. And I love that Choice. He threw out the lure. He offered him. He went to see him. You have to, because he should be ranked higher. He has a suddenness about him, and he also runs hard. It is difficult to bring a guy down with that size, that strength, and that speed. And like you said, that cut ability. This is an Ole Miss lean through and through. I'm going to be shocked if he doesn't wind up at Ole Miss. I know Alabama's in the mix as well, but I love that Choice decided I'm still going to recruit him. Like we talked about Harlem Berry, you recruit these guys through the whistle because you just don't know where they're going to be in a year or two. You don't know what's going to happen when in the portal era. But of all the guys on this list, that guy might have the best tape. And that I'm comparing it to Davison. I'm comparing it to Harlem Berry and Rickey Stewart. Deer runs like a freaking deer. Like that guy is special. He should be ranked a lot higher. I think his rankings will go up. If Texas can get him on campus, I like this song and dance. I think this could get real. That's a big thing. Deer even told me, he's like, I really like Choice. I like that running back room that they're building. But it's going to be so tough to take him out of that state. Mississippi just really – Ole Miss has done a real good job. Give Lane Kiffin credit. But of all the guys we talked about, Akylin Dear is the one that I won't be shocked if you see him play on Sundays. He has every single tool in the toolbox to get there, and he runs hard. He runs with a chip on his shoulder. That's not the guy you want to tackle in this group.
There's something about, when we think about Lane Kiffin's offense that was influenced by Kendall Briles for a little while, and then you think about Jeff Levy's offense where it is, spread to the extremes. Right. Those running backs get lanes. I mean, think about, Deontay Foreman could do it all, but he was able to bounce out and hit those lanes. But there's something to be said about when those safeties are split that far and you got a guy who can go straight through them. You see Akylin Dear do that all the time. And I know it's still small level football with a town of 2,000. You're not playing
the athletes down there
at that point, but he is splitting safeties on inside runs all the time. And that's pretty impressive to me. So I think that's a fun one. It's definitely a fun film to watch. Justin, I think we've talked about this before, but 2, right? Tashard Choice basically takes 2 every year and has every intention of doing that again this cycle.
Yeah, I believe that's going to be the number again. Don't forget, if you look in that running back room today, it's getting pretty loaded. And if you'll remember, a year ago, that was the question mark going into 2023. It's not a question anymore. It's part of the answer. And so they want to, you feel like at some point there's going to be some attrition, but let Choice and those guys figure that out. Let the cream rise to the crop, and let the guys that, let them duke it out for those spots. It's going to be two. I'll be very surprised if Jordon Davison and Rickey Stewart aren't the running backs in this 2025 cycle. I know that's a little presumptuous to say in early February, but I feel like those are going to be the guys, because Choice, when he identifies his guys, he generally gets them. The biggest question is going to be 2026, because there is pretty much a chance where they may have to take 3 in that cycle. And of all of the 3 they need, there's about 4 or 5, all within about a 2 or 3 hour range, all within the state of Texas. And that would be the first time that Choice sticks straight to the state of Texas when it comes to tailbacks. And so right now it's going to be 2. I'd be shocked if it's any more, just because that room is stocked. I mean, Jarrett Gibson and Christian Clark are on campus, and they won't see the field in 2024.
Just the signs of a very talented room. Justin, always fun talking running backs with you. What a great discussion. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel. Also, head on over to InsideTexas.com. You can get 1 month of access for $1, right in time for some great recruiting intel, and right in time for spring football as well. Can't wait to have you all over there. Justin, thank you so much. I'm Joe Cook. We will see you next time on the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel, powered by InsideTexas.com.